It's Victory Monday, and I got some victory chicken. The Bears get back on track on the lakefront. We're going to talk about it next. Welcome in, everybody, to the 4-Star Chicago Sports Podcast. We are the Halas Hangover, and we are here on Victory Monday.
Sean, was that a whole bucket of chicken you got?
We got a whole bucket of chicken for Victory Monday, baby. We had to go get it. I'm a little upset with Jewel because last year they actually had Bears buckets. And I don't know what this is, but I'll take it. And it was delicious for lunch.
Sean, they couldn't afford the sponsorship.
So, boys, we all predicted a victory. We're all pretty happy here on a River Street Bears Victory Monday. The Bears are back at 500. They're looking at a good spot, undefeated at home in 24. And we have a 7-game home winning streak with Carolina and New England on deck. So it looks like we could get to 9 straight wins at home. Caleb Williams is looking better every day, guys, huh? Every week, every quarter, I guess I would say. If we get into it, if we get into his numbers, in that second half of that game, he was 9 for 10 for 86 yards, had a 135 passer rating. The one thing I still can't get over, though, is these 10 penalties that we have and the undisciplined football that the Chicago Bears are still playing with. 5 pre-snap penalties of the 10 is just undisciplined football. It seems a lot of them seem to be coming from Darnell Wright, number 58 on the right side, which is getting really frustrating. I talked to Kyle about this, I believe, on Wednesday. His back being an issue is either he doesn't know the cadence, snap count, or his back is a problem and he can't get out, or he's just jumping, he's not comfortable. I don't know what it is. You guys, I'm going to turn it over to – let's start off with you, Dustin. Talk to me a little bit about what you thought about Caleb and what's going on with 58 on the right side of this line with these pre-snap penalties, man.
Well, I mean, first of all, I feel good today. I mean, last week it was a rough post-game show that we had. It was a rough game to watch. This week's game was a lot more fun to watch. And, I mean, you mentioned Caleb looking better, and it's just amazing what – a better game plan will do for a rookie quarterback. It's amazing what not dropping back 60 will do for a rookie quarterback. You know, he dropped back 26 times in this game. Yep. He only threw it 23 times. He was still sacked 3 times, and he was stripped, you know. So this offensive line is still an issue. When you're talking about Darnell Wright, he's not getting beat so much. He wasn't really in that game, but he's costing us, putting us behind the sticks. Yep. Putting us behind the sticks on first downs, especially. It's just a drive killer, you know. And the first 4 drives of that game for the Bears, they only got 41 yards of offense, guys. It took them a while to get it going, but I've been saying the key for this team is going to be getting a first half lead, having the lead going into the second half. They haven't had it in any of these 3 games so far. We're up 7-6 in this, but I mean, that's a start.
It's a lead.
Yeah. So the offense, you know, they got it together, man. And I mean, we'll talk more about it, but obviously the player of this game was DeAndre Swift. I'm very happy with this Bears team today. I'm very happy with Shane Waldron for swallowing his pride and making some changes to his offensive play calling because it's obviously working. We established a run game, knew that was the key going into it, and it was the key of the game.
What you got, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm happy with what I saw, man. It looks like they've improved for another week. I thought Eberflus beat McVay. I did. I thought he drew that up. He contained Kyren Williams, and whenever McVay felt that Stafford had to throw the ball, they got after him. They forced an interception. They stripped him. Obviously, again, guys, tight ends shouldn't be covering defensive ends, not Montez Sweat especially. But I thought there's so much good to see in Caleb Williams, even on these performances where he's not throwing for 300 yards, man. I mean, he stays in the pocket as long as he possibly can.
Sometimes
no
too long.
How small it gets. I know. I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, I love the fact that you want to be this in the pocket quarterback. You're trusting your line when that takes a lot when you've been sacked however many times he has. But get out of the pocket and roll, man. That's what you do. You know what I mean? You want to see that stuff. But yeah, I thought Shane Waldron is learning his personnel a little better. On top of DeAndre Swift, you saw Roshan Johnson, and the Bears just played situational football better. I mean, Kramer and Roshan together was obviously, and actually, there's that play got blown up, and Roshan was grabbed in the backfield by Jared Verse, but you can't make an arm tackle on Roshan Johnson. We saw that, so that's pretty cool too, man. Yeah, I think Shane Waldron's starting to figure out this personnel he's got, and once you figure that out, it's going to be much easier to call an effective game plan. Like Dustin said, the run didn't come out the gates hot. I think Swift had a 6-yard run, but after that, it was kind of short yardage, and they just stuck to it, man. And then I don't know how I really don't like Mark Sanchez, but I'm going to say this. With the pre-snap penalties, he did mention Caleb Williams might have a little bit to do, a little bit of responsibility with that occurring as well. I know the one play where Cole Kmet just didn't get set. I mean, just get set. What are you doing?
Yeah.
He was like dancing. I think he actually tripped on his motion. But the plays where the pre-snap plays on the pre-snap penalties on the offensive line, it can be minorly contributed to just the timing of this offense in general. I think that stuff's going to get cleaned up, guys. But I want to stress for sure, Matt Eberflus was really good in that game, guys. He really was. And you can say the penalties are a lack of discipline, and that needs to be cleaned up. But he didn't mismanage the game. It wasn't dysfunctional. He didn't put him in a situation to lose. And he beat McVay. He did. He beat McVay. Now, McVay was missing a lot of weapons for sure. But a good coach exploits the fact that a team's missing its weapons, right? He did.
He did say that they contained Kyron Williams. He ran for 94 yards on 19 carries.
I know.
4.9 yards
He's on
per
my
carry.
fantasy. He's on my fantasy team, but it never felt
Not
like
contained.
It never felt like the Bears got caught on their heels like last week against Jonathan Taylor. They were still able to blitz Matt Stafford and put pressure on him, regardless of how well Williams played in that game. But yeah, I mean, if you guys saw something different than me, one of the best head coaches in the NFL just scored 18 points. So
I mean, when you have 10 penalties, it's hard to say you outcoached the other coach, man. Sean, Kyle, I don't know, but it's tough.
yeah, Kyle,
Really
I guess
quick. I was going to say real quick before we go to Kyle. On that Doug Kramer play, were my eyes mistaken, or did he clear 3 guys out on the goal line?
He blasted through there.
He punched a hole. He punched a hole with a group of bodies for sure.
I want to see that every week. I want to see
that was awesome.
I don't know every week.
I want to stress this though, guys. We can beat up Eberflus all day when the games are bad, but we can't discredit the head coach when they win a game. I mean, it's important that you recognize the fact that
talk about it.
Our coaching staff just outmanned a better coaching staff. They really did.
What you got, Kyle? What were your thoughts this week, man?
I mean, in terms of Caleb Williams and Darnell Wright, I mean, Caleb Williams was not outstanding by any means necessary, but he was efficient, and that's what you want to see, especially for a rookie quarterback. He doesn't have to throw 350 yards every game, guys. He just has to win football games. He was 17 for 23 for 157 yards and a touchdown. He had 106.6 passer rating, which is his career high so far in 4 games into the NFL season. I liked the Bears' game plan. They ran the ball. We talked about this all week. In order to beat this team, this team's banged up. It's going to be a close game. You're going to be there in the end. Just keep running the ball. Try to control the time of possession. You'll end up beating the Rams just because they're, like you said, Sean, they're a mash unit. They're all banged up. I don't think we really have to dig too deep into Darnell Wright, guys. I mean, go look around the NFL at tackles right now. It's not good, right? There's not a single tackle in the NFL that is better this year than he was last year. The reason being is the NFL is taking this new rule seriously, where the tackles have to line up at the center's belt line. They have to, and they don't have as much leverage. When they were standing back before, especially what's his name for the Chiefs, when they're standing back on that back leg and they're 2 feet off the line of scrimmage, they have a lot more leverage to stop a bull rush when the defensive end comes at them. But now, the way they're standing, they're basically even with the line of scrimmage. It's a lot tougher to stop those guys, man, because they haven't made that rule for the defensive ends. The defensive ends can still stand back quite a bit and come bull rush them. So right now in the NFL, the offensive tackle play is just not good. You can look around the whole NFL; it's just not good. In terms of Matt Eberflus or this game plan, we could talk about this a little bit more later on. But I mean, you guys, I've heard a lot of people complaining about the Bears defense today, and like like Dustin said, I wouldn't necessarily say they contained Kyron Williams, but we all know that Kyron Williams is capable of running for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they did slow him down because he did not have that game. And you guys, this is the Bears defense.
He was visibly frustrated.
This is
Williams
what it
was
is.
frustrated.
The Bears defense is what Matt Eberflus would probably describe to people as bend but do not break. I mean, this is what they do. They want you to go down the field, play an 11, 12, 13 play drives, and at some point in those drives make a mistake and they'll take advantage of it. That's what they are. This is exactly what the Bears defense is. This is what they said they were going to be. This is what cover or man coverages or zone coverages. This is what it is. You're rarely going to stop. You're not going to get a ton of 3 and outs every game. It's not going to happen. Their teams are going to move the ball a little bit. You're just waiting for them to make that mistake. And that's basically exactly what the Bears did. I mean, they took advantage of bad plays by the Rams at opportune times for the Chicago Bears, and they won the game. And there's really not much to complain about. Obviously, in the long run, you'd like to see the Bears shore up that run defense a little bit. But so far, with the new team, 4 weeks into the season, 2-2, if they've looked a lot better at home than they have on the road, I'm not disappointed about yesterday at all in any way, shape, or form.
Well, it's a good segue to lead us into something I really wanted to talk to you guys about, is about the Bears run defense. Tennessee, they gave up 26 for $140. Houston, 23 for 75. Indy, 33 for 150. Yesterday, 26 for 119. They've also let up 5 rushing touchdowns. Last year, they gave up 86 yards a game, gave up 8 total rushing touchdowns on the year. Right now, they're giving up 121 yards, 4.5 yards a carry. I mean, this isn't a winning formula if you can't stop the run. And this is becoming a serious problem because the Bears are getting gashed. They got destroyed by Jonathan Taylor. And I guess we can say they contained Kyron Williams, but Kyron Williams was gashing 4 or 5 yard runs at his will. He averaged almost 5 yards a carry yesterday. This is a major problem for a team that was the best run defense in the NFL last year. Bringing back the same personnel, I can't figure out what's going on with these guys and why they're not as solid up front and stopping the run. You know, maybe you guys are seeing something that I'm not. Talk to me about it, Kyle. Tell me what you see. Why are the Bears getting gashed on the ground right now?
Well, first of all, it's early in the season. Second of all, the two running backs you just said beat the Bears up pretty good are pretty good running backs, man. I mean, they're going to do that against a lot of teams. Jonathan Taylor and Kyron Williams have made their reputation in this league for a reason. They're not scrubs, man. They're going to get their numbers against a lot of good teams. That's going to happen. Second of all, I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but Jack Sanborn's not on the field as much as he was last year. The Bears are just committing to stopping the pass. That's what they're doing. That's what this Bears do. I think, and right now in today's NFL, with a league where the rules have been adjusted to favor the quarterbacks and wide receivers, I think that's kind of almost what you have to do, right? I mean, you obviously can't let the teams run for a first down in every 2 carries, but the Bears are allowing 167 passing yards a game. That's pretty good in the NFL, man. Especially with some of these receivers. Besides Nico Collins, nobody's really gotten the best of the Chicago Bears.
That number just went up a little bit after this game. They were at 163 going in. They're probably closer to 180, 185 now.
Yeah, I mean,
that game.
Still
solid.
Matthew Stafford was 20 for 29 for 229 yards in interception. I mean, that's not going to beat most teams. You have to play better than that to beat most teams in the NFL. But I mean, I just think it's just a scheme change, man. I think they're committing to stopping. Matthew Stafford was the most dangerous player on the field for the Rams, and the Bears committed to stopping him, and they did. He didn't throw a single touchdown. I mean, I don't like seeing those rushing numbers either, Sean. I don't. I think, especially for a team last year, that I think they only allowed 100-yard rusher all year, and I think it was the last game of the season, if I'm not mistaken. But they're just, I think right now it's early on in the season. They're kind of messing with things a little bit. Like I said, you'd like to see Jack Sanborn on the field more often because he was actually very good at stopping the run last year. That's probably, I'd say, his strong point for him is stopping the run. But they're tweaking things. They're trying to figure out their personnel. You know, they got Terrell Taylor here. They don't have Justin Jones anymore. He's gone. So now they have to figure out who's going to be in the middle. I think has Zach Pickens played a game yet? Has he played a game yet?
No, he's on the sideline massaging his groin, dude.
He has not played a game yet. They drafted him to get after the pass or after the quarterback a little bit. He didn't seem to be doing that training camp. They said he's probably going to end up being a one technique. He's going to be there to stop the run. So I'm assuming it's going to get better when he gets here. I don't know, but you know, we're 4 games in the season. The Bears are 2-2. Yeah, I give them a little bit of leeway. This is almost a brand new team for them. Like you said, the defense is the same as it was last year, Sean. But last year they suffered a lot of injuries, so it was ultimately a different scheme they were playing last year. There was no Brisker. Gordon was out so many guys were missing last year that I think they kind of just changed their scheme a little bit. But for the most part, I mean, if you can limit guys, if Kyron Williams, what did Kyron Williams have? 94 yards rushing,
19 carries.
Yeah, so I mean, if you can limit the other carry. Yeah, if you can limit the other team to 94 yards rushing every game, no matter what his average is, no matter how many, I mean, ultimately it's going to spell success. As long as you don't allow a 100-yard rusher every game, generally you're going to have a lot of success in the NFL. But I mean, like I said, you guys, it's 4 games in the season. You're still going to see things change a lot. This is not a completed Bears team. This is not the final product. They're going to perfect these issues at some point, or at least try as much as they can with the personnel they have. But like I said, I'm not disappointed about yesterday in any way, shape, or form. I expected Kyron Williams to get his numbers, and he did. And I expected Jonathan Taylor to do the same, and he did.
What do you think?
Guys, real quick. Bruce, Michael, Scott Angel, Brewhaw, Ant Mass in the building, Bear Down boys.
What's going on?
We
Here?
appreciate y'all for
Good
joining
job,
us.
boys. Thanks for joining us.
Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share it with a friend. Keep the comments coming.
Listen,
What's up?
What do you got on that run defense there, Dustin? What concerns you the most, or do you think they're going to improve and get better from where they are right now?
I mean, you talk about this Tampa 2 defense, which is basically what Eberflus runs, and everybody says the bend but don't break, and I mean that's how it was with Lovie Smith. It's very similar to what we're used to as Bears fans. But eventually that works both ways. The offense might break some, but eventually the defense will break too. And I was calling that out yesterday when they kept getting in the red zone, and eventually they were going to score, and it was a close game, and they could have tied that game with a 2-point conversion. That 2-point conversion was huge, but the Bears defense was letting them move up and down the field, and eventually
that wouldn't have tied the game. That would have brought it within a field goal.
No, they scored a touchdown to go. They were down 15-17. They needed a 2-point conversion to tie it at 17. Yes, that would have been a tie game.
Right. You're right. It was 17.
But all I'm saying is the bend but don't break can start to break eventually, if you're letting them move the ball that much. I think this Bears defense should be better against the run than it is with the squad that it has. Kyle makes a great point with if we're running more of that nickel with Kyler Gordon out there, obviously that's going to put you at a weakness against the run more so than if you had Sanborn out there. But at the same time, I just want to see them do a better job against these guys. I mean, I thought the key to that game was going to be Kyron Williams and limiting him, not so much Matthew Stafford. And we weren't really able to limit him, but we came away with the game because of the turnovers and because the Rams were 1 of 4 in the red zone. The Rams had 2 turnovers in the red zone. They were 1 of 4 on scoring opportunities in the red zone. That's what won this game.
Yeah, so they bet but didn't break. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they did break on the one. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like it's going to go both ways for this defense.
And that's going to happen. And you know what, Dustin, I've never been a huge fan of the cover 2 Tampa 2. I don't like that defense. I don't like the bend don't break mentality. I want the Bears to crush everybody like the '85 Bears did, where you don't let anybody move the ball. But that's who Metaflus is, and that's probably not going to change.
It is. Brewhaw says we are blitzing more. They're going to counter the blitz with rushing. Matt Stafford was ripping that blitz apart too every time the Bears blitzed.
Well, the Bears are still not getting there fast enough.
Yeah, no, I don't know how I feel. I mean, they had the one blitz that got the sack with Brisker. That worked out really well. Other than that, they had a tough time on those blitzes. Matt Stafford was reading it and picking it up before
Brisker could have killed him, man.
Oh, God, that was awesome.
He was nice. He could have destroyed him, dude.
Now, I mean, the Bears got to win. I'm happy, guys. But there are some things that and Brisker was probably the player of the game on defense. I mean, 12 tackles, 8 solo, 2 tackles for a loss, 1 sack, 1 interception. Great fucking game. He really had a great game. He had a couple of boneheaded mistakes though, Kyle, that could have been big issues. He had that interception where he stepped out of bounds, and he also had the late hit, which was kind of questionable, but don't even put yourself in the position to have that call made on you. So, I mean, he had some ups and downs too. It's kind of like that's this Bears season. They're 2-2 after the first quarter of the season. I mean, if they continue to go 2-2, that's going to be a problem come the end of the season. I want them to have an above 500 record. Right now, they're 2-2, and there's some ups and downs. There's things they got to clean up. The penalties are the worst. I mean, I don't know that Eberflus had any opportunities to mess up that game for the Bears yesterday. The game went fast. There wasn't a lot of issues besides the penalties. There wasn't anything to challenge in that game. It was a pretty clean game. So that's a good thing for this Bears team that he didn't have to make those decisions in my mind. I don't know that he outcoached McVay. They won the game. That's what matters,
What you got, Brandon? What did you think?
How many teams do you guys think average over 4 yards per carry out of 32?
How many?
All of them.
Most of them. Yeah,
hopefully most of them.
So 4.9 yards per carry.
Williams. 4.9 yards per carry is different than 4.2 yards per carry.
It's not outside the norm of the NFL. I'm going to say this. The NFL is continuous to grown wider and wider and wider spread And now the NFL is ever changing.
That's
So
true.
what are teams going to do now? Now that these defense get spread out further and further and further, they're going to try to jam the ball down your throat, and they're finding success in it early in the season. Now, do I think those numbers are going to start to come down? For sure. But I don't think that there's a single rush defense in the NFL that's looked good all 4 weeks. I really don't think there is.
Except for the Vikings.
And
mean,
the Baltimore
The Ravens are allowing
The Baltimore
60
Ravens.
57.8 yards.
I was
Okay,
going
so-
to say the Baltimore Ravens.
So 2 out of 32 teams, you guys pitched.
No. I mean, you have 9 teams that are allowing less than 100 yards per game. The Bears are 17th in rushing yards allowed right now at 121 a game. So that's
17th at
middle of the pack.
121 per game. So I mean, take
Middle
with
of
that
the
what you will. Like you read the number 121 and you think, wow, that's god awful, and they're 17th. So I think that the Bears.
I think the Bears could be better than this, though. I think they.
I mean,
have the ability to be
and
better.
Brandon, just really quick, they allowed 86 yards per game. This is a huge jump from last year. That's just my simple point of it. It's
I
not
think-
like they went from 86 to 95. They were
Well,
86
think
guys,
to 21.
Don't you think that could be a product of? I mean, you guys think Chuba Hubbard's going to run for 125 yards next week?
I mean,
think
he's been
it's
playing pretty well, man. I don't
Well,
think
we'll
that
see.
Panthers
We'll
team is bad, but
We'll
I
see.
mean,
I mean, I
yeah,
just
we'll
don't, I
see.
think it's
Brandon
also a
finishes
product of who
that,
they're playing better offensive lines than their defensive line is. That's what part of what's
Let
happening.
Brandon finish his thought really quick.
I think the Bears are focused more on getting after the quarterback, and I think the result of that is your rush defense is going to suffer a little bit. Javon Dexter is focused mainly on getting after the quarterback, where last year Javon Dexter was one of the best run defenders on the team. He no longer is. He's trying to get in the backfield, and I'm more power to him, man. If that guy's going to he's got 3 sacks over 4 weeks, if he's going to be a top tackle in the NFL because he gets after the quarterback, I more than implore that. But I still think, I don't know. I still think the Bears defense. First off, I agree with Kyle. This Bears defense, even last year, they just make a play, and I mean, they get the ball thrown on them, they get the ball ran on them, and they make a play.
That's
They
what they're
now
banking on. That's
they
what they're
now
banking on.
threw.
it's a
I
dangerous
believe-
game. Eventually, is all I'm saying.
They now have 26 takeaways in.
Here, Bernard, I'll go over for you right now. Since
Yeah.
November 19th of last year versus Detroit, the second game versus Detroit since November 19th, they have 27 total takeaways. This is their games, 10 games. Here it is. 4 takeaways, 4, 3, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 2. That's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to make the most of their opportunities to take the ball away. And they're going to let you move down the field a little bit. That's the only way to take the ball away. 3 and outs doesn't create interceptions or fumbles.
Whoa.
What's leading to
You
those
guys-
turnovers? What led to those turnovers against the Rams was the pressure they were putting on Stafford.
And guys,
That was-
that's
And you're going to
Hey,
Bernard's
guys.
right. You're going to sacrifice some running yards if you're going to try to blitz.
and when
them.
a team's taking the ball away at that rate, we can definitely 100%, guys. We can have the conversation of defensive coordinator versus head coach. But when the team's taking the ball away at that rate, that is because of the guy who's running the defense, not just the personnel on the field. This defense is doing things I haven't seen a Bears defense do since 2018. I mean, this is winning football. If you take
What's
the
up,
ball
Franco?
away from your opponent, if you win the turnover battle, you're almost always going to win
Yeah.
football games. I
Yeah.
said this to Dustin a few weeks ago on the bare minimum. Football is about mistakes. On offense, you limit it as much as you can, and on defense, you force it as often as you can. The Bears are doing that. Caleb Williams played a turnover-free
What was the
game.
key to that? To the Bears winning the turnover battle, Brandon? What was the key to that?
Pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, they
Well,
made
don't turn the
Stanford
ball
look like a rookie. Or what do you mean? I mean, he
Well,
threw
and they didn't drop Caleb back over 35 fucking times.
that pick to Brisker
Balance.
that wasn't actually a pick was probably the worst pass I've ever seen Stafford throw in his professional career. I mean, that Brisker,
He
it
was
wasn't
set
even
up.
disguised. It was Brisker was just in front of the player the entire throw. Like, so Flus is definitely making games uncomfortable for opposing quarterbacks, regardless of how
Well,
he's doing it. If it's
that-
blitzing, just
that-
4-man rush, just aggressive play by the corners, like the 2-down conversion that you talked about, Dustin. Tyreek Stevenson squeezed Whittington to the edge. He didn't leave him a fucking inch of room for him to catch that ball, and that's coaching, man. You're coaching these guys to do that. You're
That was the
coaching these
play of the
guys to
game,
prep.
probably, huh?
Yeah,
allowing
that
two
I will
big
say though that
plays.
Matthew Stafford, the interception to Brisker that was taken away because he was the first player to touch the ball after stepping out of bounds, that was a miscommunication between the receiver and Stafford, and that's going to be expected because he doesn't have his receivers. He has a bunch of guys he's never really played football with. So
Those guys perform pretty well, man. All things considered. Whittington,
I like that Whittington guy a lot.
yeah,
Man.
Whittington looked
He had a
great.
lot of hype in the
Atwell-
preseason. He's living up to it, man.
Atwell averaged 20 yards of reception, guys.
Yeah, he's
20.5 yards of reception.
I keep finding
that's what
myself
they want.
asking
That's
this
what the
question.
Bears want Carter to be.
How many points do the Bears offense consistently need to score with the defense they have to win football games? I keep asking this question. I keep asking it for a reason.
They're averaging
Right now, they're giving up 21 points a game. They've moved
No,
up, so they have
no,
to score.
they moved back down. After this game, they moved back down. You're looking at after last week, Sean.
So they're giving up
They
less
were
than
they were
3 touchdowns.
they were
They
19.
20. That's still 3 touchdowns. So you
They were-
still have to score over 3 touchdowns.
They were
to
at
win a game.
19. They were 19. They played the Colts. They moved up to 21, and they just allowed what 15. So now they're going to move back. They're going to move back down to 19.
Okay, but we can probably agree that
Let's move
defense
back
is
down
what
to
it
18
is.
or
They're
19.
going to consistently hold opponents probably close to that 20-point range. And the Bears
Probably.
offense has now scored 10 points, 13 points, 16 points, 24 points. I mean, this is a winning recipe, guys. And we all talked about how long it's going to take this offense to get right, to click, for Shane Washington to figure out who he has and what they do best. It's going that way. As
Vernon,
far as you're asking me.
Vernon, the comments they're addressing your question. If you want to read a couple of them in.
So Caleb Williams had success because DeAndre Swift did his job.
No,
Vernon saying 21 to
24 points a game. Brewhouse says we need 28 points a game.
We need 28 points. I mean, and you're talking about that offense scoring 24 points yesterday. The defense led to a lot of those points. Those were some short fields. The Bears played really good field position game yesterday.
Guys, you look, like I said, you look at this really. This is 10 games now, guys. This is who the Bears are. They're going to give you short fields. This is 10 games. 4 takeaways, 4 takeaways, 3 takeaways, 3 takeaways, 4 takeaways.
They have the best punter in football.
This is who they are, guys. After a 10-game span, that's over half a season. This is who the Chicago Bears are. They take the ball away. They're very.
They also have a punter that's going to pin you.
Yeah, you guys.
Just to be clear, guys, real quick. Bears are allowing 18.8 points per game. They were allowing 19.5 going into this game.
Okay, so it's down to 18.
I said 18 or 19. Yep. Justin earlier said that we could talk about this later if you guys want, but Justin said his player of the game was Jaquan Brisker. I hate to do this, man. It's just so cliche, but Torrey Taylor is my player of the game. Two of those punts, they were actually back to back, I believe. One went 67, one went 66. But that guy literally could kick out of his own end zone and pin them inside the 15-yard line. That's insane. Have you guys ever seen anything else? I can't remember. I've never
been marveling at a punt the way I am with this guy.
Dude, it's insane.
We use generational a lot throwing like at athletes, but I would almost say he's revolutionizing the position of punter. It's revolutionary because you don't. Go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
No, they just hit the ground and they stick.
Or bounce back
in the wrong direction.
Yeah, he's got that rotation on it. It bounces back. It
nuts,
don't go.
Man.
Yeah, he said after the game he practiced that for years to try to get the ball to stick.
Though that Rams kicker punter didn't look so bad either, man.
No, they were like two boxers exchanging 65-yard punts back and forth, man.
I really love what Torrey Taylor said after the game when they interviewed him, and they were like, how do you continue to do this stuff? And he was like, hey man, there's 10 other
I got the chat, Sean.
There's 10 other players on the team. Like, it's not just me. It takes this whole special teams to make those plays happen. Those guys are getting down there fast. They're catching the punts.
Yeah, Jonathan Owens has been a phenomenal signing for the Bears.
Yeah. The Bears special teams. You talk about maybe the best coach in the Bears. It may very well be Hightower, man. Their special teams is getting better every week.
They've got a lot of penalties. That's got to stop.
That's just the Bears. That's the Bears.
He was really good. Owens was really good on that team up north last year as well. That was one they might have let get away. He's a solid football player, man.
Yeah.
And Simone Biles was in Bears clothes this week, guys. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, good for her. She's figuring it out. She just had to update her wardrobe, I'm sure. The Ant-Man says Torrey Taylor is a beast. Anyone see why we use a 4th round pick on him? Last game is why. It was something that threw me for a loop in that draft too. I'll admit it, man. I thought, you could have drafted an edge rusher, you could have drafted an offensive lineman that we could be using right now with Tevin Jenkins being hurt. There was some other options there, but I'm a believer after watching them yesterday, guys. I'll say it straight out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Justin. When they drafted him, I was like, "What are you doing?" But I mean, this guy, it's like Justin said, I've never been in awe watching punters. I'm like, actually, Sean and I are sitting at his house watching the game. I'm like screaming and yelling. I'm like, "Oh my, look at that! It's still up there. I don't think it's coming down, man." I mean, he was amazing yesterday. He 100% was a huge contributor to the Bears winning that game. That punt to win
on the last drive. Yeah.
The Rams had to score to win the game.
Yeah.
And he pins them inside the 5-yard line. I'm like, that's good. This is gonna be an uphill battle for the Rams, because the Bear, like I said, you have 12, 13-yard or play drives against the Bears. Eventually, you make a mistake, they're going to take advantage of it. And sure enough, first play, Darrell Taylor hit Matthew Stafford, which also, by the way, guys, Darrell Taylor did not hit him in the face with his helmet. He did skim his helmet.
He hit him in the head with his hand.
With his hand, yeah. But they originally said helmet to helmet. Their helmets never made.
Their helmets never touched.
Not once.
We rewound that play like 5 times.
Sean and I watched.
No, it was his hand the whole way. They could call that too. The refs could call that too.
He did brush his hand. I said that to Sean. I said his hand does brush up against his helmet when he first jumps at him.
Darrell Taylor has been a really big addition for
good
this
signing. Yeah.
Sean,
I'll tell you this: the touch on the Jaquan Brisker thing. It wasn't only yesterday. The guy's got 30 tackles on the year, 23 solo. Yeah. He's got a sack and allowing a 54.8% completion percentage.
He is having by far his best season. Not even close. I mean, this is by far the best Jaquan Brisker's looked.
Yeah, because he's finally next to a guy who can also play the position.
Guys, this is a comment that we should comment on, because I just want to make this. Yeah, I just want to put it in perspective for Bears fans, for all of us, right? Because we love watching Tory Taylor punt, but it's a bad thing if he's on the field.
Yeah, we don't want to see him.
We used to stay in the room and watch Hester. Now we're waiting for Taylor to punt before heading to the fridge. If we're waiting for Taylor to punt, we're rooting for the wrong things as fans. But what Flus kept saying in his press conference and in his interview, which was great, and I agree with it totally. It's what I saw the whole game, the complementary football, how Tory Taylor and the special teams fed into that defense, putting them in advantageous positions. Then the defense would take advantage of that, and then they would get the ball for the offense with the short field, and the offense was taking advantage of that. It was firing on all cylinders in terms of those three units working together, and that was the first time they've played complementary football all season. That's what I've been begging for. Yeah.
Well, too, Dustin, we talked about this last week, and the Bears did it this week. We talked about balance. It was 23 passes, 28 rushes, and look at how that game plan worked out. It was fantastic to see the balance, the run game starting, and it was also great that they actually watched the scouting report and realized how to use DeAndre Swift effective in this game to attack the weaknesses of the Rams defense. I'll give the coaches flowers, because I'm not on Eberflus's bandwagon, as we're all aware of. I'll give him his flowers for yesterday.
They made adjustments. They were ready. They were ready for how they were ready to play.
You could say it's easy, but like Bernard said, I mean, if he whether it's Eberflus's fault or not, whether he should be given credit for it or not, if the team is missing their best three weapons, man, then I would say, hey, Stafford, go ahead, see what you can do against us with your Jordan Whittingtons and your Tutu Atwells.
Marcus Robinson.
Let's see who can win this.
Kind of shredded us a little bit.
You guys, I did find out yesterday, just a fun fact real quick. Marcus Robinson, who lives in the Dundee, Elgin area, who comes into River Street Tavern, we see him a lot. His nephew is DeMarcus Robinson.
That's his nephew, huh?
Yeah.
Former Bears first round. He was a first round pick, wasn't he, or was it second?
I believe. Yeah, I think he was first. I think Marcus Robinson was a first round pick. He actually had some good games for the Bears in his career.
Before I flip to the defense, back to the offense, I want to give flowers to one more person. And this is going to be a guy who's starting to put it all together. We touched on him just a little bit ago. He's got 12 tackles, 7 solos, 6 quarterback hits, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. We had a debate about this gentleman at the beginning of the year.
Dexter.
Yes. Number 99 is making his presence known every single week in the middle of that defensive line. Brandon, I want to give you a chance to speak about Javon Dexter. Tell me what you see and how you feel about number 99.
Yeah, he looks good. He's getting after the quarterback. And it's weird, man. It's like you don't really notice him or hear his name, and then all of a sudden he blows the play up. And if he can do that, if Javon Dexter can provide, and I said after week 1, I believe he's on pace for 17 sacks in the season, right? So if the guy can, And we talked about, guys, where is the pressure going to come from outside of Montez Sweat? If between Darryl Taylor and Javon Dexter, if you get, I'll even say 15 sacks between those two players, it's a whole different dynamic, right? I mean, because you don't get to do the load up on the one side that Sweat's playing anymore, and a tight end and a receiver is certainly not going to do the job. But no, he's been good. He's the 3 tech is supposed to apply pressure. That's what Eberflus kind of hangs his hat on, right? That's the guy that kind of anchors everything.
Yeah.
And as long as Dexter's doing that, this defense should be working on every cylinder. Right?
Yeah.
Every time he's gotten a sack, it's been on a stunt. They're designing those stunts really well, and they're calling them at the right times. That's some great play calling.
He's very athletic.
He's great when he gets the momentum going towards the quarterback. He's unstoppable when he gets that perfect momentum going towards the quarterback. There's no offensive lineman that's going to get in his way and stop him.
Yeah,
I think Dexter went to the laboratory this offseason, guys. He's ready. He's ready.
You could say that Brisker and Gordon have probably been the best two Bears this season. It's probably not even really debatable. I mean, their PFF numbers are amazing, but outside of that, I'd say Javon Dexter is in the running for sure. And this is like the conversation we talked about before in stopping the run. I mean, these guys are still ascending, guys. I don't think Javon Dexter has reached his ceiling. I don't think we've seen the best of Javon Dexter. And if Bears fans are already saying, well, who cares if Zach Pickens is going to come back? That guy stinks. Well, that was a huge miss for Ryan Poston. That was a third-round pick. I fully expect Zach Pickens to come back to this defense and make an impact, especially in that run game, because Zach Pickens is a big boy. But I mean, Javon Dexter right now has been the most disruptive player for the Bears, and this is exactly what we're talking about. You talk about a bend don't break defense. If the other team gets a first down, then a first down, and the first down, and it's 1st and 10, and all of a sudden Javon Dexter has a sack for a 6-yard loss, and it's 2nd and 16. This is when the Bears defense starts to lick their chops a little bit. They start.
Kyle, that was huge yesterday. The Rams were driving on their first drive of the game.
Yep, it was the first drive, and Dexter
on first down, smashed it. Got that sack, completely stalled that drive, led them to a field goal.
That was what second and 18 after that was a huge sack.
That was a huge play in that game. Yeah.
And
DeMarcus Walker's played really good football too.
Yeah, the
Eric Washington effect seems to be having
it's real. It's real.
Yeah,
the Bears are blitzing a lot more than they were last year, so that's another reason they're getting at the quarterback.
I'm actually very excited to see Pickens with Washington. I want to see Pickens is also he's sound in his technique, man. He's also an athlete.
Guys,
I want to see with that.
Kyle brought up PFF grades real quick. Indulge me for a second, if you guys will. The top 5 players on the Bears PFF in this game were Sweat at 76.1, Edwards at 75, Brisker at 71.4, and Swift at 67.5, Caleb at 63. The Rams guys, Fisk was a 90.6, Kobe Turner was an 89.4. They're 2 defensive tackles. Quentin Lake was 83.4. Alaric Jackson, their guard, was 80.4. Their other guard, Kevin Dotson, 76.9. I mean, in terms of
that's interesting because I thought
it's a weird thing, right? Their PFF grades are so much higher.
When I thought Verse was the best player on their field, so it's strange to me. I thought
it makes you think.
I understand. Sometimes I question the PFF grades. I mean, how can you possibly give DeAndre Swift that low of a grade? I mean, that's insane, man. You guys,
was my
he was responsible. I think he was responsible for over 50% of the Bears' offense.
I was going to say he was a huge part of the offense.
I mean, look at
93 yards on 16 runs, 72 yards on 7 catches.
Here you go. Jared Verse not number 1 on the field.
Jared Verse was a
DeAndre Swift generated 165 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. Swift led the Bears in rushing with 93 yards and 16 carries, including a 36-yard touchdown, and receiving with 7 catches for 72 yards. How do you get that Pro Football Focus grade from that? I really don't think there's not much more DeAndre Swift could have done. I mean,
he averaged 5.8 yards per carry, 10.3 yards per catch.
I think, and every time Caleb got in trouble, DeAndre Swift found a way to get open because he knew Caleb was in trouble.
That's another key to that game, right? Caleb taking the check down, guys. Not pushing it downfield.
I don't know how the Bears only went 3 for 9 on 3rd down because I felt like Caleb was amazing on 3rd down.
Really quick, Jared Verse yesterday had 5 pressures and 4 hurries against Braxton Jones alone, and Caleb Williams was 8 for 9 for 75 yards on blitz packages yesterday.
Caleb Williams is showing those signs, man.
Yeah.
You put an offensive line in front of this kid, the sky is the limit.
I don't know if we have it this year. I was going to say, did you notice the progression? He just decided yesterday, I'm going to take everything underneath. I'm going to take what the defense gave me. He didn't look to go over the top as much as he has in the previous 3
Yeah,
games.
that's what I was just
I thought
saying.
that was really awesome,
Yeah.
man. Like, just
Yeah.
here's
Yeah,
your
that
guy.
was just
Develop
And
good.
that's when you have less yards and more efficiency and more touchdown and less turnovers.
Less
And yeah,
turnovers.
It's people like it's not sexy not to have 380 yards, but when you drop
Right.
back, like Dustin said a couple weeks ago, when you drop back 60 times, you're going to put ball in harm's way. Eventually, it's going to get tipped to the line of scrimmage. Something
And
that's just part of football. That's what happens. When you only let them throw it 23 times and you complete 17 of them, you don't have any turnovers. You're probably going to win that game unless you're playing a very, very, very good team like somebody like the Chiefs. But I mean, when
That
you
was
play a bang
Caleb's
up,
best game as a pro.
yeah,
guys.
you play. And
I
I think
want
Caleb knew.
to say this too, man. I've mentioned this twice on the show before. Didn't really get a whole lot of chatter, I should say. Like we didn't really. This sideline is different. Matt Eberflus was screaming at players on the sideline. Shane Waldron pulled any player that got a penalty. Shane, besides an offensive lineman who's required to
Accountability,
be,
yeah.
he pulled them off the field.
Too bad he had to do it 10 times.
But Caleb Williams was not only talking to Shane Waldron after almost every drive on the sideline. He walked up to his receiver. He walked up to his offensive. The sideline looked different to me than it has all year. And I kept saying to you guys, Caleb Williams is never talking to anyone, and nobody ever really like responded to that, guys. That's not a common thing.
Caleb
for a
Williams
rookie
was talking to
quarterback.
everyone yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not common for a rookie to be on the
Yeah, the
sideline
whole game.
sitting on a bench by himself.
Vernon.
That's very strange. to
Vernon,
see.
really quick, just since you're on the subject, I love this Bruja comment right here. It says, "Good touch on the pass coming up the middle, put it where only Cole could get it." I mean, that pass that might have
That's
been
amazing.
that might have been Caleb Williams' best pass of the season.
No,
man.
the
That,
No, I
best
think
pass
the
was
best
his
pass of the
touchdown.
season was to DJ Moore for the
Yeah.
touchdown.
Hold on. We're going to take a look at that right now. Hold on.
that Cole Komet pass was absolutely phenomenal.
I think this might be
This
it,
pass
Kyle.
was a rope, dude.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
no place better you could have put this pass, man.
Well, and you know the best part about
Yeah,
this
and
play
that
to
linebacker,
DJ Moore.
they kind of blew that linebacker up. Like they kind of showed the
This angle's
linebacker
so
walking
much
to the
better, too.
sideline and Shane. He actually covered really well.
Yeah,
he
he was
was.
there. He just didn't look back.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's great
Covered
about
DJ
this?
Moore.
What's great about that play too is the drive before that is the one where Caleb was talking to DJ for a long time. I mean, they were talking for like 3 or 4
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, no, it clicked.
Caleb was
after
right in
that.
his face, and
Yeah.
obviously whatever he told him, he was probably saying something along those, "Hey man, Steve, keep cutting out, just keep going straight. I'll get you the ball. I'll put it over that linebacker's head," and it worked out. But I'm telling you, man, that pass to Cole Kmet, if you watch that play again, I mean, the linebacker
Same
in between
linebacker.
Kmet, that it literally his finger. I think he may have touched that ball. That's how close it was, and the way that the touch that Caleb put on that pass to get that to Cole Kmet, it was just a thing of beauty, man. You just
It's
don't
a
see that from
floater.
rookie quarterbacks very often, man. That those touch passes usually don't come until later on in their careers, but that was absolutely beautiful. And Cole Kmet has been absolutely. If you guys go look at catches on third downs for the Chicago Bears this season, especially the last 2 games since Cole Kmet's got more involved, Cole Kmet has like 82% of their third down catches right now for the Chicago Bears. I mean, how important that guy has been.
Cole Komet's the shit, and I was so
Yeah.
pissed at the beginning of the season
awesome.
that he was not part of this game plan, dude. And
He
I'm
is.
very happy they
I'm not-
figured it out.
I'm not kidding. He's got like 82% of their third down completions have gone to Cole Kmet this season. It's some crazy number. It's over 50%. I know that.
Shane
He's
Waldron
making
is-
himself available. He's getting himself open. That's for sure.
Shane
And
Waldron is
DeAndre
clearly
Swift did the same
starting-
in that game.
Waldron is clearly starting to learn the personnel on this team, guys. It was going to take a little bit.
Well, you
of time.
guys, we should talk about Bernard. Did you hear about the meeting? Did you hear about the meeting earlier in the
Where
week?
Yeah, we
Waldron-
talked about it last
where
week.
he put on the whiteboard.
Oh,
all
you guys-
his
I didn't know
bad
you-
calls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
I mean,
you're talking about DJ Moore sitting down with Shane Waldron. and
Caleb called the meeting.
the-
Caleb
Well,
was the one that
Mercedes
called it.
Lewis was in there.
Yeah.
There were multiple
Caleb-
players in there.
Caleb
yeah.
called the meeting. Mercedes Lewis showed up. DeAndre Swift showed up. DJ Moore was there. Mercedes Lewis was there. Obviously, Caleb Williams
All
was there.
the captains were there.
Yeah, but they basically told him like, "Hey, you're not listening. Listen to it. We want to be coached up. We want to be better. We want." Even Mercedes Lewis is like, "Dude, I'm 18 years
Yeah,
in.
guys,
I
on
could
the
still be
Thursday night
coached
show,
up."
we hammer this stuff out. We talk about everything that's said during the week by a coach or a player.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it obviously made a huge impact, Kyle. It obviously
Yeah.
made a huge impact
Yeah,
because
I mean,
Shane Waldron heard what they said and adjusted and gave them what they wanted, and it looked to be successful. Me as a Bears fan, guys, I love ground and pound football, and when they put that power formation on the goal line like they should have done last week against the Colts, they had 3 tight ends out there, and they had Doug Kramer at the fullback. I was about to. I don't know.
What's up, Harris?
Yeah,
What's up,
my
Kyle?
pants almost had a mess in them. I was very happy, guys. I was very happy to see that, and it
Well, then-
worked out well.
And then they set it up again for that short. Was that fourth down or third down?
Yeah,
that they had there?
yeah,
Third.
fourth down.
Third and
Yeah.
short.
Yeah,
That was
but
third. I'm sorry.
but when I saw him lining up again, I'm like, oh, Roshan's going to get this for sure. And actually, Jared Verse had a very good chance to
Yeah,
stop
that's what I'm
Roshan from
talking
getting
about.
that
That's the
first
play
down.
where
Yeah.
that's the play where
He broke that
rushed
tackle.
versus
Yeah,
arm.
he just
You
throws
can't
brush.
arm tackle Roshan
The
Johnson.
Bears are
Throws
going to
Verse
have
off
to
of
have that in their offensive game plan in order to win games, guys. And the fact that they pulled it out, and Eberflus said they've had it in their game plan going back to training camp, but
Dustin,
they're using it.
I'm
That's
so
important.
glad you said that, because I wanted to touch on this point today. It's the perfect time. The Bears thunder and lightning with Roshan Johnson, DeAndre Swift. It may not be the best power and lightning in the NFL, man, but I'm watching all these games yesterday, and I've started to realize that those teams that do have the best thunder and lightning, like if you watch Derrick Henry and Justice Hill last night, if you watch David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, these are the best teams in the NFL, man. These teams who can do this successfully, pound you, beat you up in the middle, beat you up a little bit, and let the finesse runner take over after that, get them in open space. They're when this defense is tired or slow. I mean, that DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson. I know Roshan Johnson didn't carry the ball much yesterday. He didn't really even play that much.
Less than last week. One less carry than last
but
week.
you know what? The times in which he did play were very important.
Were huge. They were
they
first
put him
downs.
In that
Yes.
catch, the play he made on that catch that got called back because of a hold was
that was awesome. That catch was
like,
awesome. That play was awesome.
The guy clearly just doesn't quit, man. He does not quit on plays.
No, he's actually, for being a bigger back, he's almost built exactly like Matt Forte. I believe he's 6 foot, even 221 pounds, but he's elusive, man. When he starts getting into those wiggles, you never really know where he's going to go, man. I mean, Roshan Johnson just has the whole skill set. And he's young. He was only a running back in college for 2 years. He was a quarterback going into Texas, and then he got stuck behind Bijan Robinson at Texas. This guy is still learning the position, and he looks like he should be playing a lot more than me. And that's nothing against DeAndre Swift.
He wasn't only a quarterback, dude. If you look up Roshan Johnson's numbers, dude, he was insane. His high school numbers are insane. Like you think they're EA all Madden numbers. Ridiculous.
Sean, do you have them? You've told me that. Yeah,
rushing and passing in the same freaking year, dude. Well, I'm not kidding. Go look this shit up.
Yeah, all these guys kill it in high school. I mean, right now he's in the NFL. I mean, I think they found a good formula for how to utilize him in those key situations where you need short yardage to gain the first.
Football.
Yes.
Yeah, and you guys,
I know you're probably not going to agree with me here, but I still think Roshan Johnson is the best running back on this football team.
I've been sticking with DeAndre Swift this whole time. You guys know that.
I know.
I've
been sticking with Roshan.
I want to see more of that. If I'm a Bears fan, which I am, I want to see more of DeAndre Swift doing what he did yesterday.
Do you guys know? Do you notice
that's where it's at?
You notice who did not touch the ball yesterday?
Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, Roshan Johnson is permanently the number 2 running back for Chicago Bears. So Sean, he's moving up. You're going to get more of what you want. But I agree with Dustin. I actually think their skill set is pretty much
complementary.
They're nothing like each other, but they're both really good at what they do. I think they should both be when DeAndre Swift gets an open space like he did on that touchdown run, where the offensive line actually gave him a huge hole. He's very dangerous, man. He's a very, very dangerous player. He's fast.
Here,
he's jumping over people.
Let's see that.
Let's just say this.
You got that
matchup. There was a matchup for DeAndre, and let me not bag on DeAndre. So I'm very happy he had a great day. He had a matchup to exploit. He's been a bum for 3 weeks. He was the player of the game offensively.
Nah, Shane Waldron's
he went over his carries. He was averaging 1.8 yards per carry coming into this game.
He hasn't been being utilized right. He's been slamming into the line.
Not my problem.
It is.
Roshan Johnson
it
came
leads
into
to
the
success
game
for this team.
Roshan came into the game last week and was averaging almost 4 yards a carry.
In one game. In one game. He played one game.
Well, guess what?
Maybe
they should be utilizing him a little bit more because
maybe they should be utilizing DeAndre Swift, right? Because look at the success it brought them yesterday.
Did they not try in the first 3 games to utilize DeAndre Swift?
They were not utilizing him right. They were not. They were running him in between the.
Well, I mean, I will say
he was getting outside and he was still getting destroyed.
You guys, they should use them both. That's the
solution.
For sure. They should use them both. I mean, I will say DeAndre Swift in his career, whether you can talk about him all you want, how good he is. He's had injury history. So you certainly don't want them using DeAndre Swift 30 times a game. I mean, eventually you're going to have to get Roshan more involved.
He's also been a part-time back in his entire career.
And that's worked out for him. So why change it? Like if he's never been a 30 or 25 runs per game guy. then why
16
change?
carries is perfect for him. 16 carries is perfect
Yeah,
for him.
but he touched the ball 25 times.
Yeah, the 7 catches.
But he is
23 touches.
the only back on this team who's likely capable to break a
To break
large-
what he broke yesterday. Yeah,
I agree with
But-
that
He
but-
did it
100%.
twice.
But
He
you
did
guys,
it twice.
what
He
I'm
did it on a
saying is,
catch and he
I
did it on a
understand that.
run.
But if he touches the ball 25 times a game, there's a very good chance DeAndre Swift's going to miss some games. I mean, maybe they expect that and they're okay with it, but he did it on the Lions for 3 years in a row, guys. And the only reason he didn't do it last year with the Eagles is because the Eagles used Kenneth Gainwell and what's the other one's Boston Scott.
Boston Scott.
They used both those guys a lot, man. Those guys were both used
Yeah.
a lot.
Well,
DeAndre
and-
Swift got a lot of time off last year. He did.
And like-
There
but-
was a couple
but
games where he
most
only had
importantly-
8 carries.
But most importantly, let's exclude running in general. DeAndre Swift, Kyle, like we said, I think Ryan Poles signed DeAndre Swift to
For
be a
what
guy
he
who
was
makes
yesterday.
who makes
Yeah.
Caleb comfortable. And when
Yeah.
Caleb got out of the pocket, like you said, Kyle, Swift did a good
Safety
job at getting there, getting open, and he turned around and looked Caleb eye to eye and waved his damn hand like rookie
And made a play
quarterbacks
after he caught the
need that.
ball, too.
Yeah, that
I
play,
agree.
that catch, that play right there to me was the best thing to have. Like the play where Caleb he's rushed Jared versus
He
all
breaks
over
the
him.
sack.
He
Yeah.
shakes him. He gets outside. Swift realized, and Swift was actually pass protecting on that play. Swift realizes Caleb's in trouble.
He leaks out.
He leaves the block. He
Yeah.
disengages the block. He turns around and gets the ball. And that's what I want to see DeAndre Swift doing every single game in this season, guys. I want to see him
Yeah, I agree.
being the
I'm not-
insurance. Because if Swift can
He
play
was-
that role, and Keenan Allen can play that role, and Cole Kmet can play that role, a rookie quarterback can thrive in this system if those three guys are utilized as insurance. Because
Yes.
that's what I truly believe Ryan Poles had in mind for this guy.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from DeAndre Swift, man. He had an absolute amazing game, and DeAndre Swift needs to
I'm
be
not
that
either.
type of player for the Chicago Bears because
And
that's
he's
he's
there
getting
for
paid
Caleb.
$18 a
He's
year to do it.
there. And he
thing-
actually, you know what?
The thing
To be
is,
honest,
all
too,
I'm saying is the Bears.
he looked good
they
in
don't-
pass protection too. He did. He looked pretty
Right.
good in
All
pass
I'm
protection.
saying is that he doesn't have to do that every single game, man. They have Roshan Johnson. He could also have games where he has the bigger role of the two. They could play games with that type of run style where Roshan Johnson runs up the middle more often, and DeAndre Swift only carries the ball 9 times. That's all I'm
Did you
saying.
hear what Swift
I
said
like
after the game?
DeAndre Swift a lot. I like him a lot. There's a reason the Bears signed him, guys. Listen, offensive linemen should have been signed first. That's a necessity. Running backs are a luxury. The Bears got a luxury in DeAndre Swift. He's a good player. That's why they signed him, because they know he's a good player and he's good in open space and he's capable of breaking a home run. But what I'm saying is, at some point in this season, like against last week against the Colts, where DeAndre Swift just couldn't find open space, those are the games where you have to pound and beat the defensive line up.
Hold on,
And
guys.
that's
See what
Roshan
Swift
Johnson.
said? Did you see what Swift said after the
can we
game?
talk about it?
guys?
Can we,
No,
can
I
we
did
talk
not.
about a chat real
Real
quick?
quick, Brandon, real quick.
Sure.
When Swift was at his locker post game yesterday, he just said straight up, "I'll do whatever it takes for this team to win football games. I will play whatever role is necessary for this team to win football games." So if that role is him being a pass catching back one game and then being phased out completely because Roshan Johnson's going off, I don't think that that's an issue for this team because DeAndre Swift just wants to win football games,
And
which
I
is a
think-
cool thing to hear.
Yeah, and I think Roshan's probably got the same. I bet you if you ask Roshan, he'd probably have the same exact attitude. Like, hey, man, if they want to use me 4 times this week and Swift gets all the fame, fine. I don't care as long as we win the game. If next week I got to carry the ball 10 times and Swift only gets the 4, I'm fine with that too. As long as we win, I don't
Situational,
care.
Okay,
I'll be
Real
and
quick,
I'm not
Brandon.
upset that Swift is here. I just, as Kyle said, we should have utilized the other part instead. We should have built from the inside out. We're still struggling because of that deficiency. It is a luxury. I agree 100% with you, Kyle. Not a luxury the Bears needed with Herbert, who has a 5-yard per carry average, and Roshan Johnson, who can do everything.
They needed it yesterday, man. That's the reason they won that game.
Well, Brennan,
carried them through that game.
Let Brennan do this comment.
Yes,
That's one game though. But
Caleb led all QBs
That's what I'm talking
yesterday
about.
with a passer rating of 124.5. When pressured, Jalen Daniels looks great, but there's a difference when watching both that you can see ultimately Caleb will be better. This is what I want. By the way, guys, I love Jalen. I love Jaden Daniels. I do. I love Jaden Daniels. He's on my fantasy team. I really liked him at LSU. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to be a great player. The one thing that you just don't see, Jaden Daniels, I haven't seen Bo Nix. You don't see Justin Fields. You don't see these. Caleb Williams before the snap
Controlling the
probably
offense.
the best young quarterback in the NFL. He is
Maybe that I've seen in my life. Honestly,
When
a
you're
rookie
talking about the
quarterback
CJ
controlling
Strouds,
controlling
Bryce
three
Youngs,
snaps like that.
Anthony
I
Richardson,
mean, you
Bo
can't say
Nix.
you can't say that he's the best in your life or the best. He's definitely he's given the most leeway of any quarterback. But Vernon, you said earlier that a lot of these pre-snap penalties could be Caleb Williams' fault because he's not audibling fast enough or he doesn't know the cadence. I mean, I'm not saying it's awesome that they're giving him and obviously they're expecting him to make mistakes and learn as he grows, just like Peyton Manning did at one point in his career, who's the best before the snap
Right,
quarterback
but
in the
Kyle, have
history.
you watched Jaden
But
Daniels? You don't.
but
Jaden Daniels is a product of the system he's in. Caleb can grow
the
the
guys,
system.
I think Gene Daniels might be more than a system
Uh,
quarterback. Man,
Yeah,
he
he
looks
might
like
be.
a really good
Product
player.
of a system. I don't agree with that at all, dude.
Yeah,
Caleb can
he's a good
grow
player.
a
Man.
system. Caleb can tell Shane Waldron, you suggest something to me, I'll make it official on the field. Jaden Daniels doesn't do that. He's never gonna. It's not about his physical
You
abilities.
can't say he's never gonna.
It's not about
Yeah,
Caleb's physical abilities. It wasn't about Justin's maybe the most athletic quarterback in the NFL. It is about guys. It's about your IQ in the game of football. Caleb Williams is smarter than all of these people. And if you want to challenge me on that, let's please have this
Guys, real
conversation.
quick.
it
Goes
maybe
offensive rookie of the year. If you guys remember going into it, Caleb was odds-on favorite going into the year for offensive rookie of the year, betting favorite. Right now, Jaden Daniels is minus 150. Jaden Daniels was like plus 600 going into the season. Right now, he's minus 150. Malik Neighbors is second at plus 350. Marvin Harrison Jr. third at plus 700. Caleb Williams is now plus 800. They've completely flipped Jaden Daniels and
Yeah,
Caleb Williams
I would
in
make
terms of
that
their
damn
offensive
bet.
rookie of the year
And I
odds.
would make that bet.
You
I
shouldn't
wanna-
make that bet.
I want
No,
to
it's tough.
I was.
I mean, Vernon,
well,
if the
I
season
agree
ended
I agree
today,
with. I agree with Kyle. When Jaden Daniels faces a Bears, we're going to see in a few weeks. So
We're,
you guys,
we're gonna find
yeah,
out.
yeah, we're going to see in a few weeks. And I'm telling you, we're going
Here,
to have this
all I
conversation
can tell
again.
you right now
But
is
Caleb is the smartest quarterback drafted in maybe the last decade. And if you don't believe
Okay.
that, you're not watching the same player that I'm
Okay.
watching.
No, yeah,
There's
he's
no
exhibiting
doubt.
that. He's exhibiting that, and he's exhibiting his leadership and his maturity. He's already exhibiting all of that for sure.
Guys, he was
That stuff
under
you're not going to
center.
measure
yeah.
with
He was
statistics.
But what I'm saying is,
He was
if
under
he's Patrick
center on a
Mahomes,
third.
or
Guys, he was under
he's
center on
Deshaun
a
Watson,
3rd and 7,
Jaden Daniels
and
could
he
still
put
be
himself.
Patrick Mahomes. Like that has not been decided yet.
I
Man.
mean, honestly, have
Deshaun
you
Watson
watched
was by far everybody's perfect quarterback coming
Wait,
out of that
what
draft.
about Patrick
Everybody.
Mahomes? How much
And
do you
look at
think
Patrick Mahomes is
Patrick
better.
Mahomes is doing? Exactly what Andy Reid tells him to. I will say this: you guys have talked about how
It
bad
doesn't matter.
Waldron
Brandon,
is.
you didn't even acknowledge that I just said Jaden Daniels was plus 600 4 weeks ago at the offensive rookie of the year. Now he's minus 150, and Caleb Williams, who was the odds-on favorite at minus 150, is now plus.
Yeah, I think.
800. Why do you think that is?
I think Jay Daniels is doing a phenomenal job of running what Cliff Kingsbury calls him to run.
You
I think
guys
he's
having
doing
trouble with that name today, Cliff Kingsbury.
that. Okay, forget it. Let's move on.
I
agree.
wasn't making.
You're
I
right.
was
You're right.
just
You're right. You're right.
enough to
Everybody's
mess
right.
up the
Hey,
name earlier
no.
too.
You're right.
I
Jay
just
Daniels,
want to
come here.
step in
I'm
one
moving
second
on. I'm moving on.
and say
Go ahead.
he's 87 for 106 and just set the NFL record at 82% completion
Yeah.
percentage
Yes,
for
that
his
definitely
first
makes him
4
a
games in the
smarter
NFL.
player. You're right. That makes him a smarter player than Caleb.
I didn't say that makes
You're
him a
correct.
smarter player.
Dude, I don't know who's smarter.
I
don't know
think
that.
Jaden Daniels is doing a lot and doing a
Yep.
lot with a lot less than what Caleb Williams has. So I can't sit here and discredit his
You guys
ability
a
and his
lot
talent.
less with what you
And
just
you
called.
wait a minute. You just sat here and said that Jaden Daniels would never ever be able to change the plays at the line. So you're
No, he
telling
won't.
me
He's got a very
as a
controlling
rookie,
offensive
maybe
coordinator.
not,
He
but you're
won't.
telling me he's never going to develop in his game where he'll be able to
He's
audible at
not.
the line.
He
That's an
doesn't
absurd
have a
statement,
coordinator
dude.
that's going
Guys,
to give him. His
let's-
coordinator is not going to give him that free. Guys, Caleb Williams has been given the ability to change the play.
They're different
since week
players.
one. Since week one,
They're different
Was-
players.
Okay, Sean.
One doesn't discount the other.
Does Jaden Daniels change the play since week one of his rookie year?
Jaden Daniels is 3-1 and just made NFL history. I don't give a shit. I
Jaden
really
Daniels
don't.
is also 3 years older than Caleb Williams, guys. He played 2 extra years in college. Jaden Daniels is basically a pro coming into the pros.
Can you
You
tell
guys-
Terry McLaren? Who else
Terry
does he have?
McLaurin, Scary
Brandon,
Terry,
Who else does he have?
one thing to help point your point, Kyler Murray was also on the list of the highest completion percentage to start the season under Cliff Kingsbury in his second year of his career. Jaden
Even
Daniels
Zach
is
Lipsy
a
had trouble
product
Not
with
his
Cliff
first
of
four
Kingsbury.
games.
he is a product of his offensive coordinator. You guys, have you not read all these posts online that say the Bears should have made Cliff Kingsbury the offensive coordinator? Have we not read this? Shane, what
I
Guess
wanted
what?
offensive
them to hire
coordinator?
Guess what?
Kingsbury
What
when they
offensive
Nobody on this
coordinator?
panel wanted Eberflus
What
3 years ago.
what
Nobody wants him
offensive
now.
what offensive coordinator gives a rookie QB week 1 the ability to change the play at the line? It hasn't happened on any other team. There's 4 starting rookies right
Right,
now.
guys.
and
guys,
hopefully the benefits of that start to
you
pay
guys-
off. I think
you guys-
what it comes down to is with
yes,
this conversation.
yeah,
is
I agree with Brian.
I'm comfortable with Caleb Williams as my starting quarterback.
Yeah, so am I.
too.
So am I. I'm not.
That's what it comes
I'm not
down to.
comparing. I'm not comparing the two. All I'm
That's
saying is
what I
Jane
just
Daniels is
said.
good. He's a very good football player.
Who do you think? Who
He's
do
a
you
very good
think
football player.
knows
That's all
the
I'm saying.
game?
I
Who do you
I
think
like Caleb.
mentally? Who do you think
Caleb is our
mentally-
quarterback, and I would still
Yes.
pick him over Jaden Daniels.
Yes, and that's all I give a shit about. That's all I give a shit. All I give a shit about is he's our quarterback. I
Who
don't
do
care
you
about
think
Jane Daniels.
mentally knows the game better?
I don't know. I don't know them. I don't know the
Here,
players. I don't
here,
know them.
can I break it down this way,
I
Brandon?
don't know them
I
personally.
don't think the
don't
argument
care.
should be Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams. I think the argument should be Dan Quinn and Quip Kingsbury versus Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus. I think that's where you go because they are doing a lot more with a lot less with apparently not
Okay,
a smart
Do you
quarterback.
think if Caleb Williams is playing for Cliff Kingsbury, he's changing plays at the line?
Who cares?
The answer is yes. He's still doing it because he identifies coverage and pressure better than any young quarterback in the NFL. Guys, when you
That's
think
fine.
when Caleb Williams is calling an audible at the line, do you think he's just doing that because it's fun? Because he wants to prove that he's the guy? No, he's seeing things that young quarterbacks don't identify. You watched it for the guy that you just praised to me. We should love Justin Fields. Love Justin. He's the greatest player. Love Justin Fields.
Nobody
That
said
guy
that.
couldn't
Nobody
identify
said
pressure.
that.
That guy couldn't identify pressure or coverage.
No,
and
he
his
said
fucking
why the
child's life
hate. He didn't say
depended
everyone
on it.
should love him. He said
Yeah,
why
it's
the
it.
hate.
Thank you.
Guys,
It's a very different statement.
how many plays did you see Caleb change? How many plays did you see Fields change at the line?
Who
No,
cares?
Fields is not that guy, dude. Fields is not that guy.
cares?
Fields is a one-read guy. I mean, he's not
We're
going to
not
be a
talking
dissecting
about
a
Justin
defense.
Fields, and no one said they loved them. Number
Yes.
one.
You don't think that it's important that a quarterback can identify pressure and coverage?
Brandon, we
That's
just
not
said,
the
we just
argument.
said the right quarterbacks in Chicago. I just said it shouldn't be a
So what are you
conversation
arguing?
between Jaden Daniels
No
and
one's
Caleb
arguing.
Williams.
You're arguing.
I'm
There's no
just
one arguing.
praising Jaden Daniels because he just made history in the NFL in his
I
first
didn't say he's not a good
starts, dude.
player. I said mentally he's nowhere near the. He's
And-
not.
and that's
anywhere-
fine. That's fine.
So I'm confused about what we're
I
arguing
think
about.
we all
You guys
just said
aren't
if we
arguing.
redrafted
Nobody's
right
arguing.
now,
Nobody's
we would
arguing.
take Caleb
Zach
Williams.
says Caleb is smarter than his offensive coordinator. That's why he's allowed to change.
You guys
plays.
want-
I agree with
Is
that too.
Jaden Daniels smarter than his offensive coordinator?
You guys, how about this? I don't care. With Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury versus Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus is to be determined. I don't know. It's been 4 games with these coaches. They might end up sucking. I don't know. Dan Quinn they've both failed in the NFL before. And on the other side, Caleb Williams is our quarterback. They both look like they're going to be very good. I'd rather have Caleb Williams because I think ultimately he will be better. I think his
He's
ceiling is
younger.
higher.
He has
Yeah,
more time.
but you know
to
what
grow.
I was sure as hell would rather have? I'd rather have Washington's offensive line than the Chicago Bears. And I think Caleb would look a lot better than he does. And I think Jaden Daniels will look a little bit worse. But
That's
we'll
one
never
thing.
know because that's the team. This is the way the NFL
This
is. I mean,
offensive line is
unfortunately,
still
we
a
didn't-
problem, guys. 3
Sean,
sacks in this game.
but I mean, let's not make it a Jaden Daniels show. Sean, do you want to continue to? Do you have anything else about the Bears game on Sunday versus the Rams?
Well, I was going to continue to talk about Caleb Williams and his progression to the season if we'd like to.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about Caleb Williams and Jaden.
No,
Daniels
I'm just,
and
you know, and
conversation for a
again,
different day.
I don't. Here, Zach Lipsy says this too. Caleb is on a list with Peyton Manning for pre-snap audibles as a rookie.
Yeah.
Now, I was 12 years old, but I don't
Yeah.
remember Peyton Manning audibling this much this early in his rookie season. Even I don't remember seeing him do it.
don't
Like I said,
understand
I
what
think
we're arguing about. I feel like we're all.
No one's arguing.
Nobody's
We're
arguing.
No one's arguing. We're having a conversation.
I feel like
we-
we're all agreeing with what I'm saying.
Yes, he is very smart. He's a very
There's a
smart
mental
quarterback.
aspect that no other
Okay,
rookie
yeah.
has. There's
Yeah.
a mental aspect that no other rookie has.
Sean, what did you want to know about Caleb Williams' progression?
No. I was gonna just talk about his progression, man. I mean, currently he's
Yeah, go over the numbers.
He's got the 6th most pressures in the NFL, and
he's got to be tied for the most sacks, right?
He's got 16 sacks already, dude. That it's
Yeah, and he's
four
only scored
sacks a
7.
game. 4 sacks a game, dude. That is
He's
atrocious.
currently the 6th most pressure quarterback in the NFL. His passer ratings under pressure week 1 through 4. Week 1, he was 29th at 39. Week 2, he was 32nd. Week 3, he was 23rd. You know where he was last week in the NFL?
No.
Number 1, 124.5% quarterback rating under pressure.
Oh, he had
The
a
guy
great
is
game,
evolving.
dude. Caleb
Not
Williams.
to mention his first 2 starts, 766, 267, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, a 53% quarterback rating. His last 2 starts, 50 of 57, 520, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 93.7. I'll put it out there. I'm very happy this guy is our quarterback. He is progressing rapidly on a quarter-by-quarter basis. He continues to get better.
Yeah,
His
and
half yesterday was amazing.
And he's doing it in spite of poor play calling. I mean, before Sunday has not been good, but he's doing it in spite of a terrible offensive line. He's doing it in spite of already massive injuries to our weapons, Roma Dunze, Keenan Allen. I mean, you talk about weathering the storm. Caleb Williams came to a team where everybody was like, "Oh, the Bears have the best situation any rookie quarterback's ever had of any quarterback ever." And then he gets here and he's like, "Where? What are you guys talking about?" Yeah, I mean, you got my center is Coleman Shelton, my right guard's Nate Davis, Keenan Allen's out already. I mean, you talk about the poise alone. Guys, we talked about this on the podcast for months, guys. Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze are obviously both very mature young men. I mean, they're both well spoken. They do a lot of work in the community. They're obviously, I agree with Brennan. I mean, they're both very intelligent. There's no doubt about that. And I think Caleb Williams, you could say Jaden Daniels is older than Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams probably was the most ready to play in the NFL of all of these rookie quarterbacks. I still think he was more ready than Jaden Daniels. The problem is the Bears have a terrible offensive line. You guys, the offensive line is the most important part of football, especially to a young rookie quarterback. I mean, you have to have a good offensive line, and he doesn't have that. And the Bears are 2-2.
Yeah.
I mean, they are allowing 4 sacks a game. They have 16 sacks allowed through 4 games this season. That is atrocious. They keep doing that. Jane Daniel or Caleb Williams is not going to finish the season for the Chicago Bears. It's not going to happen.
Isn't it 17? Isn't it 17 sacks? Didn't he get sacked 3 times in Tennessee against Tennessee at home?
I looked it up yesterday. It says 16 sacks
16,
online, so unless they messed it up. But
Freudian slip,
still not acceptable.
When you mentioned injury.
Listen, I think that the biggest thing that we've seen with the progression of Caleb is the coaching staff. This past game, making the changes necessary to protect him, to minimize the chance for mistakes, and to put him in position to make some good reads. And you can tell he's being coached to take the check down. In the first 3 weeks, he's overlooking guys wide open right in front of him, trying to get it downfield, and he's making mistakes doing that. In this past game, he didn't do that. The biggest thing about this past game, he didn't have a turnover. Now, he did get a strip sack that got recovered by us, and that was a bad play. Sometimes he's hanging in the pocket too much, guys. Michael Strahan talked about it on the halftime show. He's standing there for too long, and he's not making a decision. He's got to be quicker on getting that ball.
Sean said that yesterday during the game. I'm sure it was the sack where it was way too long, man. It had to be.
No, he's holding on to the ball for way too long. He's got to make a decision quicker.
It was the play where there was defensive holding against the Rams. So obviously he was waiting for somebody to go open, and he knew he was being held. But still, but
you don't know if you're going to get that call.
Or Caleb, even if you're not, throw it above his head out of bounds that direction. And if they think it's going to be holding, they're going to throw that holding flag every time. But just get rid of the ball, man. You cannot. I don't want him to get killed. That's the problem.
I want him to get out of the pocket a little more.
I don't want him to die.
I want him to get out of the pocket a little more still.
Justin, I think that's going to be the last part of his game that evolves, but I think that's going to eventually come because he got out of the pocket at USC. I think he's learning right now, and he's great. I wouldn't be surprised next week against Carolina if he's running out of the pocket throwing passes.
Yeah, and I mean, and what's Shane Waldron? What was Shane Waldron's forte? I mean, what was everybody so proud of him for before he came to the Chicago Bears? If you go back and look at the last 3 quarterbacks he's coached, he gets the ball out of their hands faster than they've ever done in their entire career. He makes that improvement. He's going to do the same thing with Caleb Williams. The problem is it's probably going to be a little bit slower of a transition because he's a rookie quarterback. And he's not only trying to get used to that, he's trying to get used to 10 million other things he doesn't know anything about. So this is going to be a work in progress. But Caleb Williams is actually right now, I can honestly say this for a fact. You take away the secondary of the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams is 100% the least of my worries when it comes to the Chicago. He's literally the thing I'm worried about the least. I'd say the coaching and the offensive line are number 1 and number 2. Besides that,
They're tied at 1.
Caleb Williams is on a totally different stratosphere. As a matter of fact, this is what I talked about a couple weeks ago when I was like, hey, you know what? At least in the Bears' defense, Ryan Poles' defense, even though he did retain Matt Eberflus, which I don't believe was a good move, he did also draft Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is going to be here for 10 years. You can get rid of Matt Eberflus next year if you want. It doesn't matter. He's not. You can get him whenever you want. Get rid of him whenever you want. Caleb Williams is here to stay.
Caleb's quarterback rating in that game was a 106.6,
the highest of his career.
He was smart with the ball.
Efficient.
Now he needs to. And guys, when he got out of the pocket on one and he went to throw it away, he didn't even get it back to the line of scrimmage. We got lucky on that. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah,
that.
I saw that too. I said that to Sean. I'm like, why didn't they throw?
That should have been an intentional
grounding. Yeah, that ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage. It got back to the line of scrimmage.
There were some things that he still needs to get better at. But again, this offensive line is not good at pass protecting. They were awful yesterday. Still, Braxton Jones was backpedaling the whole fucking game, getting put on his ass by Jared Verse, guys. So I mean,
here you go, Dustin.
Swift at the last moment. Well, check DeAndre Swift. He doesn't even use his blockers. They got the alley. They got the kick on the outside.
27-yarder to Swift. Williams gets hit by Verse. Stays up on the move.
Got him.
And he connects with Swift.
The quarterback, but Verse got destroyed by him yesterday.
But you see Caleb making chicken salad there.
Yeah,
that's the one thing to keep in mind. But
Bernard, we have to hear your opinion of Caleb Williams' development through 4 games. I mean, Caleb Williams has been something you've been talking about for the last year or 2 years. Give us your assessment of this, of where he's gone from week 1 to week 4. I mean, he looked like a totally different player yesterday.
He's smart, man. I mean, he's smart. Like his ability to understand football is what makes him a good player. He's not Jaden Daniels. He's not going to run for 150 yards. He's not Justin Fields. He's not even Peyton Manning. He's not the most accurate passer in football. He's intelligent. He knows have you guys ever watch his post-game interviews where he's literally telling you what a defensive play call was on a play they asked him about? When they say, hey, what happened on this? And he's like, well, I could see the defense was going to run a cover 2. They're going to bring the safety up over the top. They're going to 5-man blitz. There's going to be a blitz on the he knows football inside and out. He's Kyle, you're talking about overcoming an offensive line. He's overcoming the inabilities of his coach to call plays more so than he is his offensive line. He is before the snap. He's identifying the defense, the defensive coverage. He's identifying where the pressure. You guys remember when Justin Fields ran that naked play against Denver? Naked, where he told his offensive line pre-snap, don't block that guy. And then he got sacked by that guy. That's just something that we're not going to see. And this is a rookie. We're talking about a rookie. We're not talking about a fourth-year starter. We're talking about a very young player who knows the X's and O's of this sport better than probably a quarterback I've seen in the last 10 years.
Guys,
I honestly mean that. I think
Judah Tribe says, Waldron has already had to cut the playbook down to half already. I mean, honestly, if what he was putting out in those first 3 weeks was the other half, thank God.
Yeah, and Tom Waddle said on his show, we have to simplify this.
Yes,
and
what led to success, Judah. You saw that game yesterday. They performed well enough to get the win, and they did what they had to do to get the win. They imposed their will.
That's not even a rule of thumb for a rookie quarterback. That's a rule of thumb for an offense with so many new pieces. You don't throw the whole.
Or an offense struggling, or an offensive line that's struggling to protect the quarterback. There's a lot of things that go into that.
We talked about this week 1, guys. You let them get comfortable. You let them establish themselves. Do you know how good it probably feels for Caleb Williams after week 1 and after last week to not this guy at USC? Kai, you asked me about Caleb Williams at USC. This guy had to do everything all the time in order for a football team to win a game. If he didn't, they lost. We watched that. Even when he did, they lost. For Caleb Williams to go out there and throw 150 yards and a touchdown and his football team wins a game is really, really, really motivating for a young quarterback week in and week out. I would imagine that Caleb Williams is going to come out next week and feel a little more comfortable to throw the ball downfield, because we saw 2 passes over 20 yards this week, guys. He's going to throw the ball downfield next week, and he's going to feel comfortable doing it because he's going to know, if I make a mistake, I'm a rookie quarterback. He doesn't want to, but if I make a mistake, this football team has my back. This team is good enough to win without me doing it on my own. And Kyle, you said it before the show started. What did Ryan Poles say about Justin Fields? You have a quarterback who can win games, or you have a quarterback what did he say, Kyle? Justin
He said-
Fields. You can win games with Justin Fields. You will not win because of Justin Fields. Caleb Williams is going to be a quarterback for this team that you win because of. And he
Zach's
just
got a
needs
great
to know.
comment here.
He just needs to know that he can take risk enough to do so.
Zach's got a great comment here. Judah Tribe. I've seen Jaden Daniels run 12 to 15 different plays total through 4 weeks. His playbook might be the smallest in the NFL. The less you ask the rookie QB to do, the better the results.
Yeah, and the NFL will start making adjustments, and those rookies will start to continue to struggle later on in the season. Jaden Daniels is not going to play like this the entirety of the season, guys. But I agree with Brennan. I mean, Caleb Williams he's well beyond his years in terms of his play in the field and in terms of his running the offense. I mean, he's right now, it seems to me like he is solely responsible for running that offense. I don't think
Zach
think
was talking
everything
about
is up to
national
them ultimately.
statistic. That was a statistic. When Zach said he's on the same list as Peyton Manning on pre-snap audibles, he's not talking about like, from what I've seen, he looks like he's like
No,
Peyton Manning.
yeah, for the
He's talking
season.
about statistics.
He
No,
said
and
for
it's,
the season.
for instance, like what they said yesterday when Caleb Williams changed to a hurry up offense, they said that Shane Waldron had talked about that they were going to do hurry up in the game at some point, but ultimately Caleb Williams is the one who decided when they did it, and that's huge for a rookie quarterback, man. That's a lot of responsibility. That's a ton of
Well,
responsibility.
did you guys see the play? I tried to say this earlier. Did you see the play? I think it was like 3rd and 4 where he was under center and the safety came up on the line.
And he backed in the
Caleb
shotgun.
stood up
Yeah.
and he turned around and he told Swift to move and he dropped
backed in the
himself in the
shotgun.
shotgun and he threw a first down on that play. I think that was the play to Komet, wasn't it?
I don't know, but I do remember that. I do remember
remember
the cadence.
But these guys, these are the things. And we can talk about Bo Nix. We can talk about Bryce Young. We can talk about C.J. Stroud. We can talk about. This isn't just a Jaden Daniels comparison. All of these young quarterbacks don't even have the green light to do the things that Caleb's. I'm not just talking about the ability to do it. They're not even being told by their coordinator, you can. The coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury, is telling Jaden Daniels, I call the play, you yell it at the line. That's what it is. For Shane Waldron, who's coached veteran quarterbacks, right? Veteran quarterbacks, he's going to a rookie and he's telling his rookie, yes, you have the green light to do what you want to do before the play is snapped. That is a big deal. That is something that most football fans will overlook. Guys like us who are obsessed, who live this and breathe this and think
We've been
about this
talking
every
about
day.
it since week 1, man.
We
Yeah.
see this stuff, and that is a rookie quarterback to have the ability. I'm not even talking about to know how to do it because Caleb.
Well, that's
clearly
important
knows-
too if he's going to be doing
Well,
it.
right, but the reason that Shane Waldron feels comfortable with Caleb doing it is because he is
He
a
has
really
confidence in him.
intelligent person. He knows coverage. He knows pressure. There's only 2 things you got to know as a quarterback.
For sure, man.
Where's the pressure? Where's the coverage? And Caleb identifies it quickly within a matter of seconds when he steps up to the line.
Guys,
It's a big deal.
I think this is the most pertinent question after this game. Sean, Kyle, Brandon, what was your biggest takeaway from this game? The best thing you're holding on to for going into the next week, in terms of going to find success and continue to find ways to win football games, because that's what I'm looking for when I watch. Like when I saw them play the Colts last week, I didn't see much that they could carry into this week that I felt confident about.
Sure.
Now I feel a little different after this game. Sean, what was your biggest takeaway from this game, man?
I love the balance that they had. It's something I asked for leaving Indianapolis and coming home against the Rams. I want to see a little bit more balance on this offense. I love the fact that Rojo got involved in the offense. I love the fact that Komet is getting in the offense, way involved in the offense. So it is giving me a lot. It is giving me a lot more hope that it's evolving. And I compared it a couple of weeks ago to the Craig Counsell. We just have to, let him wrap his hands around the team and mold it and make it his own. That's kind of happening with the Bears right now. I'm loving what I'm seeing. The more parts getting in, and I'm really hoping they're looking at the game plan because I think Cincinnati just ran for $155 and 5.5 yards a carry against Carolina yesterday. I'm looking, hey, man.
And they threw it all over him, too.
Establish that run.
Scored 34 points.
Pass. I'm looking here. I'm looking forward to seeing the next step in the evolution of Caleb Williams.
With that balanced offense.
Yes, with that balanced offense. And I think Carolina's a great team to find that against.
Continue to work on that.
Continue. Yep. What you got? What do you think? What are you looking for, Brando?
Well, something
Looking
that
forward
you
to it.
guys convinced me of before the season started that I had a lot of doubt in, which is Shane Waldron is the first Bears coordinator who can change his offensive plan
Adapt.
around
Sure.
the players that he has on his
Mhm.
team. Ryan Poles added, guys, the excitement around the team that we have has not changed for me at all. We added DeAndre Swift, we added Rome Odunze, we added Keenan Allen. These are players who have a very specific role. And Dustin probably preached it the most to me. Luke Getsy could not adapt to any the strength of the players he had on his roster. Justin Fields needed to be utilized in a very specific way. The Steelers have figured that out. They know that you
Square
can win
peg,
football
round
games
hole.
with this
Yeah.
guy. Shane Waldron looks to me like he's willing to adapt to the skill set of the players he has. This is the first time I've seen this in maybe, I don't know, I want to say since pre-Nagy. Like we know what
Even with that, Nagy
Shane
tried to.
and you know what,
even with
guys?
that.
We came in with these expectations like Shane Waldron should know this week one, but you don't. You don't. You need to, like, Roshan Johnson didn't play the first 2 weeks of and Shane Waldron saw him play well against the Colts, and then he's back in with Doug Kramer's another player Ryan Poles drafted, and Blasingame is out, and Shane Waldron figured out this guy is athletic enough to probably play fullback and get in front of a run. Then you see DeAndre Swift catching the ball 7 times in the game. It looks to me like we have a coordinator who knows how to adjust to the players he has on his team instead of being so stubborn that he sticks in
It's
his
gotta be
own
my
way.
system, my
Yeah,
way.
and yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
call the plays the way I call them, no matter what, no matter who's on this football team. It looks like Shane Waldron has figured out
And that
this
was
is
Luke
what these
Getsy.
guys are. Yeah, exactly. Stubborn as hell. That was Matt Nagy too. Matt Nagy wouldn't change a thing, no matter who was on his team. It looks like Shane Waldron is identifying the skill set that each player has, and guys, we talked about Gerald Everett being on the field too much. Cole Kmet showed his right. Cole Kmet went off. And what did Shane Waldron do?
Put
Cole
Everett at
Kmet,
fullback.
you're going to be on the field. You're going to be on the field. That was stupid. I'm stupid. I'm going to admit it. I'm not going to be stubborn
They
about
tried
this.
to use Everett
I
at
was-
fullback a little bit. They tried to use Everett
But
at fullback a little bit.
Waldron is not. He's admitting that he's wrong. This coaching staff on the coaches, the Bears offensive coaches for years will not admit their own faults and just adjust to what they have. And Shane Waldron has done that. That excites the hell out of me, guys.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That every player on this team is being identified in the role that they're specific. Like Ryan Poles added or DeAndre Swift to do what he just did. 7 catches, right? He gave Cole Kmet a contract extension to be that, like, an insurance, like a big body target in the middle of the field. He drafted Rome Odunze to be that contested catch guy, and Caleb Williams played with that a little bit last week. And Shane Waldron is starting to figure out these guys all serve a very specific role. They're all very different. Every player on the Bears is very different from the next, and you have
So
to.
your takeaway is that you're happy about the offensive coordinator adjusting to the roster and the
To knowing-
personnel that he has.
Yeah, to knowing week by week, I feel like he's going to grow with the personnel.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Kyle, where are you at with it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, not only do we have an offensive coordinator that adjusts to his own players, but he adjusts his game plan to each individual opponent. And I don't think Luke Getsy did that very much. I think he just kind of forced a game plan and it never really worked. But the thing I'm looking forward to the most is if the Bears could continue to take care of the ball and run the ball. I mean, if you want to win football games in the NFL, you have to be able to run the ball and keep the defense on their toes. Don't let them know what you're going to do every play. Don't become one-dimensional, and you have to limit your mistakes. You cannot throw interceptions. I mean, as long as Caleb Williams, like I said, if it doesn't mean Caleb Williams throws 350 yards and he only throws 170 or 200 or something, but he doesn't throw any interceptions and he's scoring touchdowns, I'll take that all day, every day for the rest of his career. I really don't care. I want to see this Bears team take care of the ball and continue to take it away, man. Now 2.7 takeaways a game they were averaging over the last 10 games. This is not a pattern. I mean, this is a pattern now. This is who they are. They take the ball away from you. So if you can limit the
They're not turning the ball over, that's a huge advantage. Yes.
Yeah. If you can limit turnovers and take the ball away 3 or 4 times every game, or even 2 or 3, you're probably going to win those games. I mean, the Bears just have to look more and more competent as a team the more this year goes on. And if they could continue to pound that ball and make the run game look even a little bit better, it'll mask their offensive line deficiencies a little bit, not completely, but a little bit. It'll help them look a little bit better. Unfortunately for the Bears, when it comes to the offensive line guys, we're in week 4. Like you said, Dustin, a couple of weeks ago, Nobody is like calling around saying, "Hey, do you want the best center in the NFL?" It's just not. The offensive linemen are very rarely are they readily available during the.
We got what we got.
Do we know what's going
This
on?
is
Do we know
this
what's
is
going
it.
on with
What you
Tevin
got is what you
Jenkins?
got.
We
Do
also
we know
got
what's
Ryan
going on
No,
with Tevin Jenkins?
Tevin Jenkins left the game with a rib injury and did not return. And they're
Wrist.
saying that it's
Wrist.
ribs.
No,
Ribs.
rib.
I heard it was wrist.
No,
No,
I heard
No,
rib.
it's ribs.
I thought,
said rib?
Sean, I told you it was wrist during the game because I thought this was what the announcer said. I thought he said wrist injury. I guess he said rib injury when I was watching the game.
Okay.
I looked
Yeah,
it up.
it's a rib injury.
Looked it up after the game. And but
No,
apparently
he was walking off the field holding his side.
Yeah,
Well, number one,
apparently it's
this
bad.
is
Apparently
this
it's
is
bad.
exactly what we talked about Tevin Jenkins. The
Yeah,
guy cannot stay on the
You
field.
took the words out of my mouth.
He's not a resignable piece on this team. I'm
So
sorry.
everybody gets to do their takeaways, and we just forget about Dustin, huh?
No,
Take-
I'm not changing the subject, man. I'm still here talking about what I'm looking forward to for the Bears next week,
So,
especially
I mean-
against this opponent we're about to play. The Carolina Panthers are awful. The Bears, this should be practice. They should be able to do whatever they want.
I like this from Bruja. Clean up the pre-snap penalties. That's a huge thing they got to focus on. And in terms of my biggest takeaway, if we're talking about a positive they can carry into the next game, guys, it's that they are starting to establish an identity. They lined up multiple times in a big formation, a power formation with a fullback, put Caleb under center and said, "We're just going to overpower you to win this down." And that is just huge for their confidence. You saw it build throughout the game because of those things. You saw that the confidence in the passing game began to build because they were then making that defense think about the running game. So they're imposing their will. They're trying to create an identity that I think you need in Chicago, that I've been saying you need. You can't just be special and pretty and all about your weapons on the outside if you're going to win games in December in Chicago, guys. You just can't. You're going to have to pound somebody right down the throat, and you're going to have to win games that way. And that's Bears football, guys. And that's not going to change until we're in a dome. I'm sorry. That's not going to change.
That's never going to happen.
No.
So,
So
did you hear Caleb Williams' post-game interview?
what do you say?
When he said to establish our identity, you guys, we need to start punching people in the mouth. We need to start being tougher. We need to start have a different mentality. We need to beat the guy in front of us every time. Physical. That's basically everything he said after the game. He was like, we have to beat the crap out of the team.
I did not hear any of that, but I'm glad that our quarterback thinks that way, because he's going to be running this offense. And if they establish that identity, then you're going to be able to take advantage over the top. That's where Caleb will really start to shine come week 9, 10, somewhere in there. Right now, they really got to establish this identity, and hopefully they carry it into this Carolina game.
Also, real quick,
obviously, I was
Bruja
paraphrasing.
says,
He said something along those lines.
For sure.
Bruja says, clean up the pre-snap penalties. Matt Eberflus was asked about this today on ESPN 1000.
We just got to be better there.
He didn't. That's my point. He said it's something that's in our and my control. It can be fixed.
Accountability.
Hey, really quick, did you guys hear that Caleb Williams is the first number 1 draft pick quarterback to win his first two home games in the draft era? That's another.
Kidding me? Are you serious?
That's huge. Yeah.
That was on NFL.com today. Yeah.
Patch Mahomes didn't. He lost.
Didn't play as a rookie.
Yeah,
Well,
he didn't play as a
even
rookie.
Until the last game of the season.
Even his first 2 home games, though, he did not win. Even when he did play, he didn't.
Well,
win.
I mean, he might be. Yeah, I have no idea. But you were in Kansas City, I think you would.
Here, I'll tell you this.
The Bears have won like 9 home games in a row or something right now.
7.
Here, I'll tell you this, Kyle. If it's wrong, then NFL.com got it wrong because I took that right off of there.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm just saying to think of how many quarterbacks have been drafted. Or is it number 1 only or first round?
It's number one overall.
Luda Tribe says, "Good job, defense and special teams." I really got to agree with that. And again, each unit of this team all played their roles really well, and they worked really well together. When we pinned them deep, the defense came up with the stop, gave the ball to the offense with short field position, and we were able to capitalize on that with scores. That's the perfect game plan for this Bears team, or for any team
Yeah, you know,
games.
it's real quick. You know what's awesome about the Chicago Bears guys is everybody's contributing. I mean, everybody. I mean, Austin Booker shows up at times, and you're like, "Oh, that's a great play." Javon Dexter will all of a sudden pop up, and you're like, "What an amazing play!" Then it's Darrell Taylor, especially with that last play of the game where he forced that interception. Montez Sweat is always going to be there. Tremaine Edmonds has been a little bit quieter than I'd like him to be, and probably
Tremaine Edmonds had a 29 PFF rating.
Yeah, but eventually, he for some reason he just seems to be a guy who starts slowly. I don't understand it, but at some point you're going to start hearing his name a lot more.
Or he's just
Brisker, Gordon, Johnson, Stevenson. I mean, you guys, there's just like the offense. Last week it was Roma Dunze for 112 yards and a touchdown. This week it was DeAndre Swift for 167 yards and a touchdown. I mean, every week there's a different player on the Bears contributing. Every play there's somebody else making a play, and that means that Ryan Poles has built a good roster here.
Cal, do you think Tremaine Edmonds has something to do with the run defense?
He might.
I can't figure out Tremaine. He just not. There's been a few plays here and there where Tremaine Edmonds
was on
lost.
the team with TJ
I don't
Edwards.
understand it.
If Roquan Smith and TJ Edwards are the linebackers on this team,
did you hear Chris Collinsworth comparing Roquan Smith to Ray Lewis last night? That's really frustrating. As a Bears fan, we let that guy walk out, and Chris Collinsworth is like, "I don't want to compare him to Ray Lewis, but it's really hard not to when you talk to him because they bring the same energy." It's like, that guy was.
I also understand the move. What's that?
I understand the move. Who was the player that the Bears got in the trade they took in the second round with the Roquan pick?
Didn't they trade that over?
It was an offensive lineman. It was an offensive lineman.
The Bears I think they got a third round pick for Roquan.
They got a second.
No, it was a second.
Oh yeah, it was
Cassius Clay, wasn't it?
No, they didn't.
Cassius Clay.
Cassius something. The guy who bumped the ref.
No, they drafted a dude. He's still on the team right now.
No.
Yeah, it was the second round pick.
It was late second round pick.
No.
It was Javon Dexter. It's Javon Dexter.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was Javon Dexter.
Yes, because they traded their own second round pick for Chase Claypool, and they used the Ravens' second round pick for Javon Dexter. It was the second to last pick of the
really quick before we get out of here. I want to talk about this, and I know this is going to make Dustin really happy, but I just want to celebrate. I want to celebrate.
AJ Klein was a player during that trade. AJ Klein, the linebacker,
but not drafted.
AJ Klein was a veteran in the league already at that.
Yeah, no, that was just
veteran linebacker.
Brennan, that
was acquired in that trade.
That was a throw-in player for financial purposes. That wasn't the Bears. Never.
Hold on, really quick.
Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay.
It was Muhammad Ali.
We can't talk during this one. Just look at these.
Yeah, this is the one I wanted you to show earlier.
Clears this dude out.
It jumps over
9 seconds or less.
Jumps over him.
These got to be 9 seconds or less, guys. About to have a copyright message on our fucking video.
Nah, we're not going to have a copyright message.
9 seconds or less.
No, that was a great play. That was a great.
Listen, guys, the Bears got the win. We're all happy about that. This is a much different vibe than last week. I don't know how I feel about it. I might have liked last week better, to be honest. What does that say about us as Bears fans? We like to scream and yell and get upset with our fucking team, guys. But I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy this week. I think we all can be happy.
Dustin, we can have a whole conversation about the offensive line if you want. We can start screaming and yelling.
We don't have time for that. We already wasted. We don't have time to do all that.
Dustin, have some damn faith.
Bro, I just said I'm feeling good. I was being realistic. I mean, look at two teams going into that game that haven't scored more than 20 points per game. The Bears looked like ass against the Colts and could have won. Hey, you can make an argument.
4-1 over the next 5, guys.
You can make an argument that the Rams snatch defeat from the jaws of victory the same way the Bears did last week against the Colts in this game.
Yeah, the Rams actually led in basically every statistical category, guys.
Yeah.
Except for what?
The final score.
Yep.
Except for what?
The final score.
What else did they lose?
The turnovers. They lost the turnover battle as well. But this is what I'm saying. Like they had 322 to our 264 yards. Passing yards 203 to 133. Rushing yards we had 131. They had 119.
Hey, do you guys know?
First downs they had 21. We had 17. Third downs they had 5. We had 3. Total plays they had 58. We had 54. They won time possession by almost 10 minutes. I mean,
do you know what the
Bears? 3 minutes. Time of possessions was 3 minutes, Kyle.
I have a question.
31 minutes to 28.
Oh, sorry. I thought it said 20. Yeah, it says 20.
The 2 games the Bears lost. What did they lose?
What? The turnover battle?
Tevin Jenkins.
What did they lose?
Tevin Jenkins.
The turnover battle, yes.
Yeah,
Really
I
quick.
just talked about that.
We
That I was
just-
excited
yes,
about.
we know
going
this.
in.
Yes.
Just a yes or no, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, so I waited till the end of the show to bring it up. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are in this game on Sunday. Do the Bears win?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
There's no, how's
no
that
idea.
measurable?
No, it's not. But but it's being talked about. That's out
Yeah,
there.
I don't know. I mean, not if Matthew Stafford throws an interception and gets a strip sack, and
If Keenan Allen plays against the Colts, do the Bears win? I don't I don't know. That's a weird. How do you?
I mean,
It's not weird because Robert Whittington or whatever the hell his name is, Demarcus Robinson, were able to get open.
Jordan Liddington, he played his ass off.
Okay, Sean, you're talking
better
about
playmakers like Puka Nacua.
We were about to get out of here, guys.
Sean, you're talking about maybe the best team in
Dustin, this is what you wanted, man.
You're talking about maybe the best team in the NFL at identifying talent at wide receiver. So don't mention their backups because Puka Nacua was a 5th-round pick. These guys are good.
I don't give a shit what Puka Nacua was. Puka Nacua's got every fucking record as a rookie. I give a shit
Brandon,
what he was.
You can make the argument, Brandon, that the Rams.
Hey, Brandon, Tyreek
You
Hill's
watched-
also a 5th-round pick, and so is Antonio Brown.
You guys are also now having this discussion over a hypothetical question. They didn't play and the Bears won, so it doesn't matter.
The Bears won, but the
Bears
Bears could have lost. So there's still things
Sean,
that
if the Bears had a better offensive line, could they be 4-0? I don't fucking know. I have no idea.
If the Bears had a better offensive line, they might be 4-0. Yes.
We'll never know because they don't.
Well, we got what we got. I like that. I like the changes and I like the way the Bears came out, given that offensive line, letting them just push forward and make room off the line of scrimmage for their running backs, man. I like this game plan from Waldron.
Still eating his chicken.
Waldron deserves the flowers this week, guys. Waldron deserves the flowers.
Yeah, player of the game for me, Torrey Taylor, Dustin,
DeAndre
Swift, Sean. I think you said
mine was Brisker,
Brandon, player of the game.
What do you think?
Brandon's got Caleb Williams.
Torrey Taylor,
you guys. So,
hey,
you guys, anything else before we get out of here? Let's
we're gonna hit it. Hey, Bruja, Ant Mass, Judah, Liz.
On here, Zach,
Michael, Kyle.
Guys, all so much for joining us.
Bruce, always Bruce. Breaking news, Bruce.
Gotta keep a quick tradition.
Anything you want to get out there before we wrap up?
Shit, fuck Green Bay.
All right, yeah. Let's go.
Somebody needs to tell Bruce that it's breaking news, Bruce, not breaking Bruce. It sounds like it's like a television show he's on where he's like selling drugs.
We're gonna try this again.
Anything you want to get out there before we wrap up?
Shit, fuck Green Bay.
All right, yeah.
Why did we do that a second time?
Sean, it worked the first time.
Why did we do that a second
It
time?
worked the first time.
Yeah.
It froze on my side.
Oh no, it didn't freeze on ours.
Fair enough, guys.
It was so good. We got to see it twice.
That's gonna be the whole show next week.
Now it's breaking Bruce news, guys.
Hey man,
Bruce, we'll get it worked out, man. We'll figure it out. Whatever you want it to be.
Guys,
Bruce, we'll work on that. Sean and Brendan will work on Cliff Kingsbury, and we'll all get it. We'll get it done.
Cliff Queensberry.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, thank you for joining us on a River Street Victory Monday. We got Dustin and Brandon hopping over to CSP to talk some more Bears. Kyle and I will be back Wednesday to preview the Bears in Carolina. We'll go at some fantasy smashes and some over-unders. Don't forget Brandon
Sean, if your aunt had a dick, she'd be your uncle.
What?
Okay. Yeah,
Brandon and Kyle or Brandon and Dustin will be on Thursday after Thursday Night Football. Check them out Monday or check them out then or on your way to work. Thank you guys all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Bears are 2-2. We're going to be 3-2 next week. I guarantee that because we're going to stomp a mud hole in Carolina and Chicago.
Thank you, River Street Tavern, East Dundee. Thank you, Ideal Amusements. We appreciate you guys. Our first 2 sponsors. Couldn't be more proud of you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the reason we're still here. Go Bears. We'll see you guys Wednesday.
Bear down.
Dustin, Brennan, you guys your show will come
Thursday
out
Thursday
after Thursday Night Football.
Thursday,
we'll see you guys later this week. Bear down.
Bear down.
Oh, God, Sean, end the stream.